Hello, everyone. Welcome to the HireMyVa Team and Business Building Podcast, where we help you reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank, without breaking your bank, which is the bank that's most important. And folks, I'm Dave Braun. I'm here with my partner and best buddy, Larry Broughton.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing? Day 2 or whatever it is up there in the woods.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I've got one of my favorite shirts on. When I put it on, it reminds me in the morning. Let me get up a little bit. If you can see me, I don't know if you're watching this, but if you're listening to this, I have a t-shirt and it says, can you read that, Larry?
It's I can't read it now. What to say? It
says no fear.
Yeah, that's a good one for today's topic or conversation.
I think so.
Ooh.
So speaking of today's topic, we've heard questions about, people believe that if it doesn't work out, you say I hire somebody, and if it doesn't work out, there's no way I could ever fire someone. I can't have that type of a conversation. It's hard. How can I do that?
You throwing it over to me?
Yeah. What say ye?
What say ye? Love that. Well, listen, I know the feeling. It's like a pit in the gut, right? We've talked about this before. In fact, I think in one of our earlier podcasts, that oftentimes when you hire somebody, within the first couple of weeks whether it's going to work out or not, right? I mean, there are typically warning signs along the way, and sometimes it's just intuition. But the more you do it, you are actually able to put words around why this isn't working out. But because of our own fear that day number 14 turns into day number 30, turns into day number 89, turns into 3 years, and you're still kicking yourself like, why is this person still here? This is one of the great things about experience that comes along is that, Dave, I've learned over the years, is that the more you communicate with someone, the easier it is to have the hard conversations with them. Throughout this course, we talk about having a vision for your organization, having a mission for the organization, developing core values for your organization. All of those tools are used to measure performance against. So if someone is off course, and if one of your core values is honesty, integrity, and everything that we do, if someone is lying or cheating, it's very easy to measure their lying and cheating against what your core values are. And it's easy to say, hey, when you came on board with us, before you even came on board, you understood what that honesty, integrity are part of our core values. And right now, this action today isn't working. And so we do talk throughout the course about how to do this, how to have these hard conversations. One of the mantras, and Dave, and throughout our organizations that I got from the military is do the hard right over the easy wrong.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of reasons why people have this belief that they can't. I think that was what the question was that we got right. I could never fire someone. Well, really what I think that person is saying is, I've never been trained, or I've never known what are the warning signs, and I don't know how to have those hard conversations. Right. The great thing is that's why you and I are here. The great thing, that's why we have community. The great thing is why we have tools to help you identify what we call is position profiles, not just job descriptions, but position profiles, and how to do performance reviews. Because if you do those things, it's basically like a report card. Teachers don't like giving Fs and failing people either. But if they give an honest report card along the way of a child's performance, it's easier to have those tough conversations so that it's not a surprise. Dave, you've heard me say this plenty of times. We've known each other for how many? Over 19, maybe 20 years at this point?
Yeah, I knew you when I was like 5 years old, I think.
Exactly, yes. Is that it shouldn't be a surprise when you have to let somebody go.
Yes.
There should have been plenty of discussions leading up to it. There should have been plenty of action steps taken before so I'm just going to use this intentionally, before the axe falls. They should know that it's coming. But what we do talk about through the program is that there are some things that it's cause for immediate termination, stealing, dishonesty, disrespect to a client. Those types of things should be kind of non-negotiables. But another one of the mantras that we have throughout all of our organizations is coach them up or coach them out. Once you decide I'm going to coach them up, that means I'm going to be committed to getting them on board, getting their skills up to speed, or you coach them out. Okay. But at some point you've got to have in our minds, Dave, that at what point do we change from coaching up to coaching out? And oftentimes that's situational. And this is why I love the communities that we have. This is why I love the forum, because sometimes we don't know, because we're so in the weeds with this that we need some outside perspective, and so somebody can come to the forum and say, hey, I've done this, this, and this, and the person still is not getting it. What's my next step?
Yeah, Larry. I mean, that's a great point. It's all that the stuff that happens beforehand, being able to properly evaluate somebody, right? To know that, yes, definitely now is the time to fire. Sometimes what will happen, and this is what we have to be careful of, is that we won't connect with the person, or we will just think, I just don't think he's doing enough, where we think, oh, I think I need to let him go. Whereas you don't really have any evidence that says that you should, right? So that's the part that, like you mentioned, establishing the warning signs, being aware of those. Now, I agree with you. One of the things that you said is and that's why we teach to make sure you establish your core values. Violation of your core values is definitely cause for dismissal, right? It's a big warning sign. But there's others that are a little bit more subtle.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's not like I'm going to hire them, then I got to fire them.
Right.
There are steps in between, right? Mm-hmm. The Gallup organization does their State of the American Workforce survey every year, and they find that 67% of the American workforce is disengaged or actively disengaged. When you peel back the layers to this data, to this survey, what they find is that people aren't working in their strengths oftentimes. That might be one of the reasons why they're underperforming. Mm-hmm. But they also find that we call them team members in our organizations, but employees really put a lot of the burden on the employer to professionally develop them. Right. So that might be one of the reasons why they're not performing. No one's ever invested in them. And so if you look at it, if someone's falling short on their performance, it might just be that we have fallen short on our training of them, or identifying what our expectations are of them. People can't meet our expectations if they don't know what they are. And so I'm a big believer, as are you, David. We got to hold up a mirror, look in the mirror and say, okay, why is this person not performing? Have I communicated effectively? Have I said what my expectations are? There's all kinds of things that we need, that might be a contributing factor to their underperformance, or why they're not meeting our expectations. So this does take, entrepreneurship and being a boss, being a leader, is a lot of times you got to stare at your navel a little bit, or look in the mirror. A lot of times it falls on our shoulders. But I think it's a myth to say that I could never fire someone. That's a myth. You can, if you know how to do it, and if you know how to communicate effectively, and you're willing to take some responsibility and learn along the way as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have in our course, we have a plan of exactly how to do that, how to prepare for it. For example, writing a script and sticking to the bullet points, keeping it short, those kinds of things, right? And I know one of the big issues that what can happen is, if you do have to fire somebody, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. It never is. If you do find it a pleasant experience, maybe that's not a good sign about you.
No, because it is a failing of you and the organization.
Yeah.
You got to look at it that way, because if you do an AAR that you've heard me talk about before, an after action review, if you have to terminate someone, you do have to ask yourself, get with us, get with other members of the community and say, hey, I need to do an AAR on this. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? How can I improve the next time, so that I don't have a revolving door of people here? But Dave, one of the things I love about you is that you do have an engineer brain. You are very methodical, and you do have some tips that you want to share, this kind of 3-step approach. But I'm going to share this with folks. One thing that you can't do, and I would just beg you not to do this, is I've seen this happen and I've heard it happen, is you bring someone into your office, or you get on a Zoom call with your VA that's in the Philippines, and you got to let them go. And it takes you 45 minutes to get to the point.
Yeah.
Don't do that, because
No.
they're squirming, you're both sweating. If you've taken the steps that we're going to share with you on how to do that, it should be a very short conversation. That you pull the Band-Aid off first, and then you talk about it, and you come up with an exit strategy for them, because sometimes it's immediate and sometimes it's a workout. It might take a couple of weeks. Right. But I've terminated people, and I oftentimes have a witness there when I have to terminate. I've had to terminate people, and I've had the people that I've terminated, because I know how to do it now, give me a hug on the way out the door. Because I think the way we need to think about this, Dave, is if we do our job as a leader and we've coached them up, again, unless it's like they've slugged a client or they've stolen from you, that's a very short.
Sure.
It's a very short one, right? Where there's no tolerance in my book for that kind of stuff. But the way I get it in my head, I'm setting them free to find the right organization, because this one is just not the right one. But there is a right one for them out there somewhere. So I'm setting them free. I'm doing them a favor.
Yeah. And we have to realize that that's all, you're doing them a favor, and that's okay. I mean, it's okay to part ways.
It's scary for them too, for sure. But yes, yeah. I'm sorry, Dave.
No, yeah, it's scary on both ways. Yes. In fact, so you mentioned my engineer brain, which I got 3 things, right? So the 3 things you want to do is establish your warning signs. We talked about that, right? Violating your core values, but there's other things as well. But you want to establish your warning signs, right? So that you recognize it. Right. Hopefully it's not as much of a feeling, but it needs to be, like Larry talked about, kind of documented. You're writing it down. You've noticed some patterns along the way, right? Mm-hmm. But once you've said, okay, this person's got to go, then there's some preparation you have to do, right? You got to get their unique knowledge, if they have any, change passwords. Those are tactics, but strategically, like we talked about, you got to remember that it's not personal, it's business, right? Yeah. And then you've got to prepare mentally in saying that most of us have a severe case of conflict avoidance. Yeah. Almost nobody likes conflict, right? And so you have to be aware of that going into it. And then of course there's the execution, not the chopping off the head. That's not what I mean. That's the execution. And we talked about keeping it short. You may even want to give them the opportunity to resign, right? Severance, whatever. But here's one of the mindset shifts that you could fall into. And this is what you can't do. And I've learned this, is that you can't say to yourself, oh my gosh, this just didn't work out. It was too painful. I'm never going to get help again. I'm just going to do everything myself. That's going to be a trap to re-enslave yourself in your business. You don't want to do that. The person that's right for you, or the people that are going to help you get to where you want to go, are out there. And you have to trust in yourself in the process and work with us on that.
The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We want to give you a great jump start into doing that.
Well, and another thing, Dave, is that we do have checklists on the better hire you make, the less likely it is that you're going to have to fire them. And so you have to do some pre-work on the front end as well. And we've got checklists and all that kind of stuff for you in the program.
We got great questions to ask that elicit all kinds of good stuff. So it's, most definitely.
Great.
All right. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for me too. So folks, if you want to reclaim your freedom, change your life, you got to build a team. We're here to help you. Go to HireMyVA.com for more info on our course and community. Even without experience, you'll learn how to prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. Boy, I can't even say that today. Larry, I can't say that. Larry and I've coached a lot of folks. We've helped them overcome hurdles to be successful. So we can help you too, no question about it. So just go to HireMyVA.com for more information. We'll see you guys next time.
Go get them.